Yeah, yeah, yeah. Step onto the playground, feel the energy.
All right. Welcome to the podcast Playground, where podcasters come to play. Today, my guest is no other than Tavares Bethel, author, writer, and host of his own podcast. Give it up for Tavares Bethel. What's up, man?
Good.
Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, who is Tavares?
Man, listen, I'm just Tavares Bethel. I'm from Miami, Florida. Well, I was raised in Miami, Florida. My father was in the Navy, so I was actually born on Charleston Naval Base in South Carolina. But I don't know anything else outside of Miami, Florida. Carol City is where I was raised. Did my elementary and secondary education at Brookwood, Miami, Carol City Senior High. Spent a little bit of time at Miami-Dade Community College. Unfortunately, like I explained to most people, I completed my formal education. I said I completed my formal education in 1993. That means I didn't necessarily get a diploma. You know what I'm saying?
But you got there.
Oh, I got there. I definitely got there. But the way I got there, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, pay homage to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because it's really a Muslim brother that really saved my life and kind of inspired me to go back to that process of studying. I also spent some time in my early days with St. Arthur's 488 Masonic Temple. I was raised into Masonry. It kind of, once I dropped out of high school, it started a process of me having a thirst for knowledge, because I always, did really, really well in school, but just socially and morally, with just so much stuff going on in life, I just couldn't keep up with some of the demands of the environment. And so I did what most people from my community did. I was in the environments that most of those individuals were in, and then I had that cataclysmic shift after in 1995. My older cousin went to prison. When my older cousin went to prison, it kind of threw everybody into survival mode, trying to figure out what we were going to do and what type of lives we were going to live. I turned to the Nation of Islam, and I was raised and cared for by some really, really wonderful individuals. Then at a point in my development, I recognized that I didn't have the skills to be competitive. I didn't have a degree. I didn't have a diploma. I didn't have an education, and I had no formal skill training. So I made a decision to join the military, which was really in opposition to my values at that time. But at that point in my life, it was like, man, even if I die in the military, it'll be better than dying in the streets. My children will get something. I didn't have to worry about, my young wife at the time trying to figure out how she was going to feed and take care of my children. So I made a decision to sacrifice my life. And I thank God for being with me through that decision, because that's one of the more difficult decisions I had to make in life. And he was with me through that process. I did 21 years, 4 months, 18 days in the United States Army, after which time I retired. And now I'm back out here, trying to reestablish myself, really learning how to be a civilian again, really learning how to live, because it's two completely different worlds.
Oh, wow. So what drove you into writing a book?
I'm from Miami, right? And so we all from Dade County, I would like to think we got something slick to say. I got some game. You know what I'm saying? I was raised around some OGs. One time for that boy Zeke, Ozell Zeke Freak Davis. Thank you for the leadership and the mentorship that you provided for me in my youth. I always had something slick to say. I always wanted to run my mouth. But once I got into the professional dynamics of the military and I started trying to really progress in life, I realized how much I didn't know. But as I was on this journey through life, I would run into people at different stops at iterations of time. And like my friend Broderick Boyd, he would say, you need to put together a curriculum vitae. I didn't know what that was. You know what I'm saying? Then I had another Captain Adriana Penn in the Army. She said, Tavares, you need to write a book. And that was the first time somebody planted that seed in my brain. It was in 2016. She said, Tavares, you need to write a book. And in my mind, I was thinking, I don't have anything to say outside of what I've been trained or what I've gained through my military experience. What would I write a book about? Right? I don't have anything to write a book about. I returned from Korea. I spent some years in Korea. I returned from Korea and I was in Texas, and I was working with a nonprofit organization in Texas called the Village United. And it was happening again. People was telling me, you need to write a book. You need to capture your story. And at that time, I was still of the opinion that I didn't have anything to say or anything to put into a book that would add value to a person's life. And I don't really feel like wasting a person's time. And I don't want to give the impression that I'm a subject matter expert of something that's going on in somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, we talk with a degree of authority that we really don't possess. And so I try to stay away from that. But it's a wonderful young lady. Her name is Sandy Johnson. She is the CEO of an organization called It's All About You Talent Services out of the city of Killeen, Texas. And we were talking when I first exited the military, and we spent a lot of time strategizing on initiatives. And one day she called me and she said, Tavares, check your email. And when I checked my email, I looked and she had took all of the notes from the conversations that we were having, and she organized them into a manuscript in order to, she said, see, you do have something to say. You need to put this in that book. And at that point, I realized that I couldn't escape it any longer. So I went and I did the work, and I completed it.
She planted the seed, and you you nourished it and grew it.
Yeah. Absolutely. One time for Sandy, because if it wasn't for her effort, and not a knock against any other people that I met along this journey that have told me that I wasn't ignoring you, I was trying to validate myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You were still searching for
uh,
who you were in the whole process, and not so much focusing on trying to catch a memoir.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you figure, man, I'm from Carol City, dropped out of high school, a student of the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, didn't do things the way I anticipated or planned in the journey. Joined the military in opposition to those things. I got so much stuff that was going on in my life. You feel like you're all over the place, but sometimes you just got to relax and realize that you're on a journey and your steps is being ordered. You know what I'm saying? And if you just walk your path, those things will reveal themselves. It's going to be, a degree of uncertainty, especially for us, because ain't nobody never did what we doing in this life. You know what I'm saying?
Because you trailblaze your own stories, no matter if you grew up in the same house with, let's say, siblings. Each one of those siblings is going to have its own journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be the same as journey as you're going to take, but those are different stories in a whole bigger scheme and where they're going. But you came out, you said, hey, look, I'm going to take this that was given, I'm going to add more to it, and then I'm going to put it out.
Mm-hmm.
So when you thought about going through the publishing and all that stuff for your book, kind of what was going on then?
It's kind of the same process. Had never done it before, didn't know what I was doing at all. I sought mentorship. Unfortunately, the young lady who helped me cultivate the manuscript had been through the process 7 times.
Wow.
And yes, I want to say she up to 10 or 11 books published now, but she walked me through the process, right? She introduced me to how to go and get, the ISDN number and get in touch with Lulu and figure out how to get books printed and all of those type of things. And it was a wonderful journey. It is a wonderful journey, and I'm grateful for those individuals that are pouring into me as we walk this journey. And still, I have a little coming out of my shell to do. I kind of just really park the information in the book, if you would, because I do believe that I'm still putting together a body of work that will earn the opportunity for a person to want to read the book, right? So I'm under no impression that an individual should just see the name of the book, which I think is a phenomenal name. Like Don Trump said, it's a phenomenal name, right? Hey, how to become a 6-figure earner, right? We understand that 6% of Black households earn 6-figure income.
Oh, yeah.
About that.
It's
6%.
Not a large amount.
No, not at all. So, and the reason why we don't earn at the appropriate clip isn't because we lack the skills. We built the country. You know what I'm saying? But what we do lack is the confidence to know that we're already prepared with the skills that we need in order to succeed. So what I wanted to do was normalize it for an individual, because if I could tell my story, I'm a high school dropout from Carol City, right? I went to Miami-Dade Community College and got a little education. Went to Columbia Southern University and completed my degree. Did 21 years. The foundation being the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The first book that I read was The Miseducation of the Negro. It's a blueprint. You know what I'm saying? That means that it could happen for anybody. You don't got to be,
you don't have to be from a large lineage in order to want to read the book, because it has something in it for everybody.
Yeah, I believe it does. Now, and my scientific sample size of individuals who have read the book and provided me with some feedback have been very, very good. I'm looking forward to the individual that'll read the book and then provide me with some criticism, so that way we can make it better. And that's what it's about, right? My ego is not attached to this project. What I want people to do is be able to find the ways that they can improve their quality of life by earning more, so you can get better opportunities to your children. That's it. For me, that's it at the end of the day. If I can do something that's going to make the lives of my children better, then that's what I want to do. And that's what I discovered that I had been doing, but I was so into the weeds of it. I'm in the forest, so I ain't see the trees. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you look at the fact that, like you said, you went from dropping out of high school to finding a clear path, gaining your diploma, joining the military, and then becoming an author, a writer and an author of your own book. And I mean, that's pretty large. That in itself, along with creating a family and having that balanced time with your children, your wife, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot, and
it's a balancing act that it's worth doing, because you were able to articulate in this book the path you went down and the stories that led you to where you at now.
Yes, sir. And I believe that by sharing those stories, individuals like me, or and when I say from some of the same socioeconomic constraints, will be able to see their story and how they can cultivate a plan out of their condition, out of their situation. Don't worry about what I did. My story is the story to let you know that you can do it, right? You don't take my story and then try to duplicate my story. I'm not worthy of that, right? But take that story and realize that that my story, you have a story. And so look at what your story is. Look at the components of the story. Where can you improve? What can you take away from? What can you amplify in order to be able to do what you want to do, right? And then just do it. Like, it's your shot. Shoot it. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that.
And I believe it as well, because I believe you only go around once.
Mm-hmm.
So why pigeonhole yourself to a belief that you can't do what you really want to do or be what you want to be? And I mean, I don't know nobody who don't want to make six figures.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
I haven't ran into that person that said, if I can only make $23,000 a year, I'm gonna be fine.
Hey, good luck.
Hey,
good luck. How can you survive?
You can't.
How can you survive with what the minimum wage is and what the cost of living is in like a city like Jacksonville, Atlanta, Miami, Detroit, DC, New York? How can you make it?
You can't, because at the end of the day, $23,000, $24,000, anything below that $60,000 to $70,000 mark, you're struggling unless you have a partner who can help you. And I mean, like I said before, everybody has a story, but it takes finding the right people to influence you to want to tell your story, to put it to words like you've done.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank you for that, because I know, looking on Amazon at your reviews, that you have wonderful reviews for the book.
Wow. Yes, thank you.
So, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. And this is not a Bible for, like you said, it's not a Bible for people to go out there and imitate, duplicate, and think you're going to get the same results. It's not that. It's a book for you to read and understand that, yes, you can take some things from it and they might apply to your life, but it's up to you to figure out what parts apply and how to apply them to tell your own story.
Absolutely. And if the reader can clear their mind long enough to allow the word to just penetrate their brain, right? To allow themselves to imagine what they can be and imagine what the possibilities is when you apply yourself.
They'll be endless.
Man, endless. And I believe that's where we at right now. And to your point, you said something that it made me think about one of my favorite rap verses. And everybody who know me know I'm not really a fan of Eminem. Like I do not like Eminem Nan song that he got. I can't tell you nothing about this man. No disrespect to him, because he's quite successful. I'm saying
and he's very talented.
I'm saying and very talented. I'm saying I don't like Eminem. Right. However, Eminem said, "You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime." That is probably, in my mind, one of the most powerful verses that I have ever heard. And it inspired me from the moment that I heard it. I realized that we don't have time to waste. And when you get an opportunity, don't worry about what the outcome is. Sometimes, the way our ego set up, I'm worried about being embarrassed. I'm worried about humiliating myself, right?
I think we're more so worried about the wrong things than the right things, because it's funny. Every guy that I know is always worried about embarrassing themselves. But it's funny, when you have a daughter, when they little, you embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
You embarrass yourself just because, once again, that's your baby girl. When you have a son, you out there doing crazy stuff. You ain't thinking about embarrassing yourself, but you embarrassing yourself because you and your son over there doing some real silly shit. But it's fun.
Yeah.
Life can't boil down to ego, because ego don't pay bills.
That's right.
Profound minds, a sense of accomplishment, and a drive to get stuff completed is what builds you.
Yes, sir.
And six figures gets you there.
Yeah. It's the door, right? It should be the threshold that we're aspiring to, right? And if a person don't get there, you may not get there in your 40 hours, right, or your 80 hours, or your 160 hours for the month, 173 hours for the month, however you rate it. You might not get there in that portion of time, but that don't mean you can't get there, right? It's what type of drive or what desire do you have? What are your gifts and your skills? What do you do? You know what I'm saying? Because the goal may be somewhere right there in your face. It may be something you've been doing your whole entire life, but you just never considered it.
And you never really paid attention to the fact that one thing that people been telling you, like, yeah, you should write a book. That one thing, you grabbed a hold of it. Once she opened that door and showed you, look, this is what you've been telling me. Others want to hear this. And when you say other people want to hear this and you hold that up, it starts to echo.
Yeah.
It starts to radiate.
Yeah.
Now it becomes more profound. And then you're like, okay, now let me pour more into it. I want to nourish this. I want this to grow. And once it's grown to six figures.
Yeah. Hey, and shameless plug, not for nothing. Listen, right? And now as I'm growing into my maturity, I realize I'm hot to death, man. Hey, I'm hotter than John C. Maxwell. Y'all been playing with me, and y'all better go get this book. Hey, listen, my mama say the game is to be sold, not told, right? And if you don't want it, then keep doing whatever it is you do. Whatever you doing, if it's working for you, keep doing it. But what I realized for me in COVID, in the 2020 COVID year, I deployed. I was in the military. I deployed to Operation Defend. I was in Germany, and COVID struck. They sent us back to the country. I went through a really, really difficult period of time in my life where I didn't have access to the other social functions that I was doing. So I only had the opportunity to focus on work. And so I worked. I worked my primary job. I worked a secondary job. I just stayed working. I tried to stay busy. And that was from 2020 to 2021. In 2021, that 2020 year, that was my first that was my first six-figure year. Right. In 2020, when I filed my taxes in 2021, I realized that I had made the leap. I did it. I crossed that threshold. And when I crossed that threshold, when I looked back and reviewed what I had to do in order to cross the threshold, it was work. It was work. It was work. It was study and work. Study and work. I ain't had no time to pussyfoot around.
Yeah, nobody just walked up there and said, you know what? I like you. I want you to be at six figures. Here you go.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna tell you what happened. My baby mama came and said, "You nigga, it's a greater demand." Hey, so we had to get to work, and we just had to keep working. And I'm grateful for the pressure that had been applied to my life. It gave me something that I could review and share with our family, the human family of the planet Earth. Because this book ain't a book for any one individual. It's a book for individuals who desire to increase their earning potential.
And I mean, they said it best, pressure makes diamonds. And at the end of the day, you trade those diamonds in for what? Six figures. So with that being said, I mean, look, don't sleep on it. Go out there on Amazon, purchase the book, check out the ebook. It's worth a read, and you won't be sad you did. So in that note, you want to tell them where they can find you, and tell them a little bit about your podcast too, because I mean, you right here gliding on the slide.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for that segue into all of those avenues. But we're on Spotify now, right? So you can find the slide on Spotify. We're also on YouTube as the slide, on Facebook and TikTok, the slide, right? If you have an opportunity to ride the slide, come on, glide with us. That's what we do every single week. We try to be able to give the people something. Give you the opportunity to consider something different, right? I'm not a comedian, right? I'm not a comedian. I'm not a pastor. I'm just like in the movie Talk to Me with Don Cheadle, and when she say, ain't nothing special about Petey. Petey just a regular ass nigga from DC that like to run his mouth. Hey, I'm from Carol City, and I want to be able to ensure that everybody coming in back of me at least had an opportunity to avoid the pitfalls that's ahead of them, right?
Well, I mean, because that's what it's about. It's about telling people what you had to go through in the hopes that they learn from the downfalls, and they take the positives and spin the positives into positives for themselves.
Yes, sir.
Because what's the point of struggling and nobody knows why you struggled, because they only see the greatness that came after the struggle.
Mm-hmm. And that's people, right? Right? You said that, and I always knew you was gonna be all right. Well, when did you know that? Because the last
you
time
didn't tell me shit.
I clearly remember you saying, "Nigga, you ain't gonna be shit." That's what I took away from the conversation that we was having.
My gym teacher told me fourth grade. She said, "Call me when you go to jail."
That's crazy. But everybody is wrestling, and we going through stuff. And we're trying to figure it out. And what I would like people to take away from these words is realize we're the first generation with this much freedom. Right? We're the first generation with the ability to think critically, to make analytical decisions. We are the first. Right? That is why this generation is Generation X. It ain't X because they ain't have no other letter to pick. X in mathematics represent the unknown. They ain't know what was going to come out of this generation. But now y'all see. Right? This is what's coming out of this generation. And it's our shot. Just like we was in here talking with some millennials ago, and they were like, boy, that Generation X had kind of been out there. We don't want them coming back. But boy, we back. You know what I'm saying? We back, and we ready to assume our mantle for real and take our place, on Earth during this period of time in order to be able to shape whatever the next 20 or 30 years look like as we get ready to pass it on to the generation coming and back us and to our children and our grandchildren. But it's imperative that we shoot our shot and that we maximize our opportunity. So for me, I think that was the thing. The thing was, man, stop sitting on the sideline and
Get in the game.
Get in the game, man. Do your part. If you believe it's a part for you to do. And every single day as we walk through this journey, particularly, and I owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you, because you are one of the individuals that are helping me to realize my own potential. You know what I'm saying? And so thank you. So one time for Jason White Photography, y'all tune into the podcast playground. Link in, connect with the podcast playground and Jason White. If you want quality stuff, if you want somebody who is going to really, really care about your project, you're going to want to talk to Jason White. And that's not a knock against any of the other people out there, because I don't know y'all like that. One time for Shannon and Jesus Bavar over there at Mixed Theory Studios, because they helped lay the foundation for me as I was coming into the city of Jacksonville. And I thank you for right now where you got me and how you positioning the men and women that come through this space in order to be successful as we try to create something that has never existed before. I think is dope.
I mean, I look at the fact that I'm willing to give almost anybody a shot, because everything that I know, I had to learn. So I don't want to gatekeep anything. So if you're out there and you're a creative person, I'm talking to you, whether it's producing, whether it's, let's say, even if you're an event planner, it don't even matter, because it takes creativeness to be an event planner. That ain't no short feat. Because look here, if you wait on me to plan an event, you'll never have one. So I know that that's a skill and a talent to be able to bring all those pieces together to make the final show. You're welcome on the playground.
Yes, sir.
If you have a podcast, you got questions, or you just want to come on and talk about your podcast, come on down. You're welcome on the playground. And with that being said, I want to say thank you, Tavares. I appreciate you for joining and for riding with me, not on the slide, but on the merry-go-round, on the playground.
Hey, like on the monkey bar.
You just swinging on the monkey bar as we slide down the slide on the playground.
Come on.
So,
yes, sir.
With that note, we'll holler. We out.